In the land where the sun kissed the red earth, where baobab trees spread their arms like ancient guardians, and the drums of the ancestors echoed in the wind, a child was born. But this was no ordinary child. It was a night of silence when even the crickets hid in fear. The midwives gathered around the mother's mat, with sweat dripping from her brow. Akosua pushed and screamed until the cries of a newborn pierced the night. The midwives gasped. The father, Kojo, entered, expecting to see the joy of his son or daughter, but what he saw made his knees tremble. The child's lips were enormous, stretching wider than any lips they had ever seen. They quivered like calabashes filled with water. The midwives crossed themselves, whispering, "A curse? The gods have cursed this child." Akoswa's cry was not joy, but fear. "No," she shouted, turning her face away. "This cannot be my daughter. This is not a blessing, this is shame." Kojo, his hands trembling, took one look at the child and stepped away. "The gods are angry with us. If the people see her, they will drive us out." And so, in the dead of night, while the newborn wailed in her basket, Akosua and Kojo slipped out of the hut and vanished into the forest, leaving their child behind. The baby lay alone until the village old priestess Nana Efua entered the hut. She looked upon the child with eyes that had seen many seasons. While others would have turned away, she smiled faintly. "Oh, little one," she whispered, lifting the child into her frail arms. "The world sees curse, but I see destiny. The gods do not make mistakes. Your lips are not your shame, they are your gifts. One day, the same mouth they mock will be the mouth that saves them all." And with that, Nana Efua took the baby into her care. The girl grew in the shadows of whispers. As a child, she was mocked in the village square. Children pointed and laughed, calling her big mouth, river lips, and cursed child. She fetched water, carried firewood, pounded fufu, but no matter how much she walked, the laughter followed her. At the market, women would turn their faces away when she passed. At the river, children would scatter, shouting that her lips might swallow them whole. Every insult dug into her heart like a thorn. She asked Nana Efua one evening as the fire crackled, "Why did the gods make me this way? Why am I not beautiful like the others?" The old woman only smiled. "Child, beauty is not in the face. Beauty is in purpose. When the drum of destiny calls, your mouth will answer." But the girl did not understand. One night, when the moon was full, she crept near her parents' hut. Though they had abandoned her, they had returned to the village years later, pretending the child had been taken by spirits. She crouched in the shadows and listened. Inside, her mother's voice trembled. "Kojo, I know why she was born this way. It was my fault." The girl held her breath. "I mocked the river goddess once. Many seasons ago, I laughed at her swollen lips when she rose from the waters. I said she was ugly. She cursed me that day, saying my daughter would carry her shame. That is why our child was born with those lips. I am the cause of her suffering." The girl's heart broke. She stumbled away into the darkness, tears wetting her face. Her lips, her pain were not by chance. They were a curse her mother had earned. Years passed. The girl grew into a young woman. tall and graceful. Though her lips still drew stares, she learned to carry her shame like a calabash balanced on her head, heavy but steady. Then calamity struck. The river turned bitter. Fish floated lifeless to the surface. The crops withered in the fields. Goats refused to graze. The air was thick with despair. The people wailed and gathered at the palace of the chief. The diviners scattered their crowds. The drummers beat warning rhythms, and finally, Nana Efua spoke. The river goddess is angry. She demands a voice strong enough to plead with her. If no voice rises, our village will perish. The crowd gasped. Who among them had such a voice? Then slowly, all eyes turned toward the young woman with the large lips. Murmurs spread like fire in dry grass. Some shouted, "She is the cause. Throw her into the river." Others shouted, "Perhaps she is the chosen one." The chief's son, Prince Kweku, stepped forward. His eyes, unlike the others, did not mock. They held something different. Faith. "Let her try," he said firmly. "I believe she is the one." And so, under the gaze of the entire village, the young woman walked to the riverbank. Her legs trembled, but her heart beat with the fire of destiny. Prince Kweku walked beside her, whispering, "Do not fear, you are not alone." The river roared. A voice thundered from its depths, the voice of the river goddess. "Who dares to stand before me?" The villagers fell silent. Even the trees seemed to bow. The young woman stepped forward, her lips trembling but strong. "It is I," she said, her voice carrying like a drumbeat across the waters. "The one they mocked, the one they despised. But I am your daughter, marked with your lips. Spare my people." The river goddess rose in a swirl of water and light. "You, child of my cause, for years you carried the burden of your mother's scorn. Yet, here you are, unbroken, standing for those who shamed you. Speak, child, show me the strength of your mouth." The young woman drew a deep breath. With all her might, she blew across the river. Her lips, large and powerful, carried a wind so strong that it scattered the dark fog, cleared the poisoned waters, and restored the river to life. Fish leapt again. The crops lifted their heads, and the air filled with hope. The villagers cried out in joy. Drums thundered. Women ululated. Men fell to their knees. The chief bowed. "You are no cause. You are our savior." Prince Kweku stepped forward, his eyes shining. He took her hands in his. "And you are my love. Will you be my wife and walk beside me as queen?" The young woman's tears fell like rain, but her smile was brighter than the sun. "Once I thought my lips were my shame, but now I know they were my gifts." And so the girl who was abandoned at birth became the savior of her people. The mouth they mocked became the mouth that saved, and the girl with the mouth of destiny became queen. The end. Like, subscribe, and share.